Let me know when we're live.
We're in.
We're on the internet.
On the interwebs.
Woo! Cool. You let me know when we're ready to go.
Well, we're live on the interwebs.
No, well, you know what I mean. Kick this thing going. Put the voice on. Let me know when I need to put the voice on.
And I guess any time now.
Yeah. Wait. I'm missing one important thing.
Fisherman's friends.
My fisherman's friends. All right. So, yeah. Carving. Woo. I'm like binging right now.
Oh, excusez-moi.
Okay. Get one of these in there. You ready?
Sure.
Okay, here we
Let's go.
I'm not even going to say one take because we stumbled that one last time. All right, here we go. Welcome to Cardboard Conjecture. I'm your host, Norm.
And I'm Ryan.
And on this episode, Games of Late, I can't wait for that part. Some news, and we're going to do some reviews.
You're not looking forward to the news?
Well, I am, but you know what? It's dangerous. I'm going to review viticulture.
And I'm going to review Imperial Steam.
Yeah, right on. That was bad. Okay, coming back in. And we're back. This is Cardboard Conjecture. We're going to go into some Games of Late. And do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
Yeah,
okay,
I can go. A couple weeks ago, we talked about some of our anticipated games from 2021 that we never did get to play. Well, I actually got to scratch one of those off the list recently, where I ended up getting to pick up a copy of, I think it's pronounced Cubitos or Cubitos. I can't remember. Maybe it's Cubitos because they're all dealing with dice.
If you're from Chicago, it's Cubitos. The
Cubitos.
Cubs. It's the Cubs.
The Bears.
The Bears.
This game does have bears in it.
So now from now on, you're going to play that and go, at the Bears.
The Bear. Whenever that card comes out. Oh, yeah. The latest by AEG. Well, I guess it's not the latest by AEG, but a 2021 release by AEG and designer John D. Clare, who has his designer mitts and a whole bunch of things that AEG does, probably most famously for Space Base and the Mystic Veil series, and he's got a whole bunch of schwackload of other designs out there. And this is his take on I believe it's a racing game. Well, it is a racing game because it's the first person to go around the track and finish the race first is the winner. And this game drew a lot of comparisons gameplay-wise to the Quacks of Quedlinburg. This was one that Jeff from Amazing Stories had told me that this game completely replaced the Quacks of Quedlinburg for him. And I can see the similarity. There is the element of, this is not a bag builder, but it's just a kind of like a pool builder. You just kind of, you start off with a common pool of dice. Everybody's got these dice in front of them. You're going to roll them. You're going to use them to move your guy around the track, and you're going to use them to buy new dice, which is kind of like buying ingredients in Quacks of Quedlinburg. So, yeah, and all the, there's, oh my gosh, how many are different dice are there? I believe there's like 8 or 9 different dice that you can purchase. And every game is going to be a little bit different because each of those dice, let's just say, let's take the blue dice. Mm-hmm. The blue dice has 6 cards associated with it, and you just randomly pick one of those cards, and that's the blue dice power for the game. And all of the dice have like 6 cards that you just randomly select. And then, so then
that's cool.
The blue dice might be a very weak dice in one game, but then the next game, oh my gosh, everybody's going gaga for bananas for the blue dice. And the really kind of cool part is that these dice, the probabilities on these dice of actually rolling a success are actually quite low. Most dice only ever have just 1 or 2 faces that are going to activate, and the rest of the faces are blank. There are some dice there that there is a 50-50. There's there's 3 sides that can activate, 3 sides that are blank. Those ones are really, really nice to have. because the whole point of this game is when you are trying to activate your dice, you roll them, and then you set aside, you put them into your ready area of your player board. You roll them, and at any time that you roll your dice and you roll all blanks, you bust, and therefore you kind of forfeit taking any actions for the rest of the turn. So there's kind of a neat little push your luck mechanic of, hey, I rolled my dice. Yeah, you're rolling like a mitt full of dice. Like
Cool.
it's not uncommon to be rolling like 12, 13 dice on your turn. So you have a big mitt full, and it's not uncommon just to roll 12 dice and get like 2 successes. Because and you put them aside and you're like, okay, I only got 2 successes. Do I want to keep going? Yeah, I still got 10 dice here. I got to roll at least once. And you roll them, and then you either get more successes or you bust. And this is essentially what you do. And then you activate your dice, which will either move your guy, give you buying power.
Cool.
A whole.
I mean, like,
there's tons of crazy abilities on all of the cards that could possibly come out.
I can totally see now how you say where it's kind of a parallel to the Quacks game.
Yeah, because every ingredient in Quacks had
changing your function. Yeah.
Yeah, every ingredient and then you could swap those in out, stuff like that. So, really enjoyed it. The one that they say use this as your first game experience type of thing was very boring.
Of course. Straight to the expert, man. You know better.
Right. Because we're like, okay, let's just learn how the system goes. And we obviously, both Jen and I went, yeah, we know which 2 dice that we need to go after. And we're going to ignore all the other ones. Yeah. So we're like, okay, let's just do a random setup. And the random setup was really, really kind of cool because she went one way with the dice and I went another way with the dice.
Oh, see, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah. So you definitely just ignore the first
take the
race.
Training wheels off, man.
And
you know better than that.
And it's even better too. The variability even picks up more because there isn't just one board that you can race around. There's 4 boards that come in in the box. So they're all double-sided, and some maps are harder to get around, some are easier to get around. There's a lot of water hazards.
Yeah, sounds like there's a lot of variability, which is really fun.
Lots of different ways to cull your dice. Like if you want to get rid of the basic ones, you're going to get more of the ones with the powers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed it. I don't know if this one replaces Quacks of Quedlinburg, but it is definitely, I can see the parallels.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think that there is room for both of them in a person's collection, just because they could provide 2 completely different experiences.
Oh, for sure.
With them. You get more variability with the Quacks if you get the expansions. This one can be expandable if they do decide to go it that way. And it was very popular. I don't know why they wouldn't want to expand this, but man, there's tons of variability already just in the original one. And I believe a new printing is coming like very, very shortly at the very beginning of 2022. So it'll become readily available once again. And that's
cool.
Cubitos. I'm going to go with Cubitos. AEG, John D. Clare. John D. Clare, you should have made the designer series episode where we got to pay attention to what that guy's doing, because man, he's starting to become one of those jack of all trades designers.
Funny you say that, because the game I'm going to talk about, there's a designer there where I'm like, oh, that should have made the list. So we should have an episode of the designers, the designers that should have made the list. Yep. So yeah, and every time you said Cubitos, I'm like, that bears.
Yeah. Oh, the art is so like whimsically cute type of thing. There you go. Like there's the one, it's like, obviously, because I've got my Sons of Lombardy shirt on. I'm a cheesehead for life. There's the cheese cubes. There's the cheese heads.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
He's the guy that's on the main box of Cubitos, though. I always gravitate towards him, even if he's a crappy dice. I gotta get the cheese heads.
Well, I finally played, and I never thought that I would have the opportunity because there's no solo in it. But Dave brought this over last Wednesday and played Whistle Mountain, designed by Scott Caputo and Luke Laurie and published by Bezier Games. And Yeah, I know you have the Whistle Stop and you have Whistle Mountain, and they're not similar only in the fact that they're, I think thematically they're from the same realm.
Yeah.
But as far as games go, they're so different. So, Whistle Mountain, it immediately gave me the same vibe as Mountain King, that Jay
Okay.
Cormier game, right? Because in this game, you're trying to build towards the top of Whistle Mountain, and by building, I'm saying you're putting some polyomino pieces at the base of the mountain, and you're starting to um, uh, build upwards in this scaffolding as you're connecting all these polyomino pieces together. You now have the opportunity to put, is it machines in? I think everybody drops machines
Oh
in
yeah, like
that that
pieces of scaffolding.
yeah. No, well, the
Oh no.
scaffolding,
Oh yeah, right. The
yeah,
pieces of machine. Yeah, yes,
yeah, the
yes.
machines that go in that give you better resources, because the functionality between these scaffolds, and it's honestly, it's like a worker placement, because you have these dirigibles, and you have a dirigible, a big blimp that takes up 3 squares, and then you have a smaller blimp that takes up two, and then you have a balloon that takes up one. Now the function of these is on, like, there's so many things to do. I could talk about this for a long time, but I don't want to. Um, but where you place these dirigibles on the map, accesses resources for you,
Mm.
and those machine shops are high, let's say, high functioning and very meticulously built machines that provide really cool things, and that's where you can create this um, engine built into the game, and it's accessible by everybody. You could put that in there, but you'll get the points. But as far as its function as a resource generator, everybody can access it. So what's important in that as well is when you there's putting workers out on the scaffolds, because when you put machines on, the workers that are in that area get pushed to the side and are now into this bonus point structure, which is really cool because of this interconnectivity of the point scaffolding system, if you want to use the same metaphor.
Mhm.
This game is so, like, at first, okay, I was the only one who did it. This was the first play, and Dave and Jordan played a lot of it. So I mean, I got I got smoked, but boy, did I learn a lot.
Yeah, this is
uh,
one. This is one we like to call combo the game, because you're looking
yeah,
for combos and you want to find something that you need
and
to
the
exploit.
cards,
Yeah,
yeah, you can pull these cards. Oh yeah, there's so much, to the point where you're looking at somebody going, for some reason that feels illegal what you just did. How can you can't do that?
yeah,
It's like, oh geez, you can you? And
yeah.
then
Because
of
there's the
course Jordan is the master of the block. Oh, I don't have to pull my blimp, I can leave it there. You're a jerk.
yeah, yeah. Because there's the area of the board where you can get like kind of like the cog wheels that have the
Yeah.
special bonuses
Oh
on
yeah,
them.
yeah, yeah.
You got
The
those,
upgrades. Yeah.
and then you
Those
combo
change the
that.
rules for you too. Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah,
Oh.
combo that with the cards with your own starting ability.
And your personal ability at the beginning of the game. Oh man. Yeah,
Yeah,
there's just so many layers. Now, it's like how you said the whole thing about Kubitos replacing or not replacing quacks, and that they're similar in regards to their mechanical structure, but they're different in regards to their game system and feel, right?
hmm
This is the same thing for me in the Hall of the Mountain King, because in Whistle Mountain, there's a lot of player interaction. There's a lot of bumping shoulders and elbows, and kind of um, how should we say, passive aggressively stabbing someone in the side of the leg as you kind of move your meeple into better position. Now, whereas in the Hall of the Mountain King, you're basically playing in your little big dugout area of this mountain, and there's relatively no interaction. So I'm appreciating both.
Yeah, this one, I really enjoyed the fact that you are creating the worker placement spots in that scaffolding area, because it's all common. Yeah,
You have a pile of tiles. There's so much variability.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and because that is where when you place your Zeppelin or you place your blimp or something like that, that's how you get your resources in order to build all the different things, and everybody's got access to them.
I like the idea that you can only have 4. There's 4 different resources, and you can only have 4 max. So if you a place into a resource area that gives you more, it's wasteful. So there's an efficiency that's going on there too, which I really like, because
you want to do that. You want to put those things there because it blocks other people.
No, but that's what I mean. As far as you going, there's no hoarding, right? You gotta run your resources pretty slim and fast.
Yeah. But then there's also hate blocking.
Yeah. Did I mention that? Yeah. Did I mention the learning curve was pretty harsh? So yeah, that's Whistle Stop by Whistle Mountain, but from the Whistle Stop series. I was in my head, I'm thinking.
Yeah.
So is that just pretty much it? Is the art is very similar or near identical, and it's thematically connected to the same realm?
Yes.
Okay.
Not even remotely close to Whistle Stop.
Because Dave has the other game as well, and he's like, no, don't even confuse the two. They just share words similar.
Yeah.
So
it's like Architects of the West Kingdom, Paladins of the West Kingdom.
Yeah.
It's
cool.
In the West Kingdom, but completely different games.
So that was Whistle Mountain by Scott Caputo, Luke Laurie, who's brilliant with the worker placement, and published by Bezier Games.
And Scott Caputo is the master of the tile laying.
Oh, that's
games.
Yeah. It's just like, what a wonderful fusion. Nice. All right, you ready to come back in for the news?
Sure.
And we're back. This is Cardboard Conjecture, and we're going to. It's time for the news.
I'm still getting used to it.
I don't know about that. So I'm like, I'm waiting for you to start the news, but it's like, oh wait, no, I threw some stuff down there.
Yeah, you threw this stuff in. I have zero knowledge about anything that you've plugged in for the news, which is good.
Okay. So let's kind of be very Canadian here and identify what we're really talking about while we're talking about stuff here. And what we're really talking about is Kickstarter kind of jumped the shark and started wanting to, how shall I say, abuse the investors and start to, make stuff up and inflate the costs so it's not like
we aren't
anymore.
coming on here to Norm and I I don't think have the slightest understanding of everything that is blockchain, NFTs, all this other kind of stuff. All my knowledge is all secondhand. Yeah, but it all leads down to I am not 100% agreeing with the way that they want to go with their company.
Here's my final litmus test of go away or I'm stay here, go away is I watched an interview where this British interviewer was interviewing Keanu Reeves and Moss about the new Matrix stuff, and he was starting to talk to him about this digital pyramid scheme, right, and how it's legitimate, and Keanu Reeves just buckles over and starts belly laughing, like, you're so you're just laughing at the guy. And at that moment I'm like, okay, so my instincts are correct. This is so full of hot air that it's just people wanting to like go for a money grab.
Yeah. So our news segment tonight is just two old guys yelling at a cloud, shaking our fists.
Get away from my yard!
Old man yells at cloud.
You're hiding the heat on me. So that being said, we're going to passive aggressively talk a lot about GameFound. No, I'm joking. But also, you like before we started, we kind of already started talking about this. The idea that things are getting a bit out of control in regards to prices and costs.
On Twitter, Restoration Games had the perfect response to the whole Kickstarter thing. And they pretty much came out and said, you know how much time and effort, like everybody's just saying, it's the cancel culture right now. Cancel Kickstarter. We're not supporting Kickstarter. We're not supporting any kind of. There are a lot of companies out there like Restoration Games that have already pooled tons of resources into creating some campaigns that are going to be coming out very, very shortly, like within like January, February here. They are not going to pull those campaigns and go to some other platform, because that means they have to redesign everything. And learn about everything, stuff like that. They had the perfect response, which is exactly what I was wanting to do, because we all know that I'm Mr. Kickstarter. I love backing projects. I love funding things and love the. If you want to support the project, don't do it through Kickstarter. Do it through their pledge manager. So Restoration Games is there on there, because I think they have, what is it? Vendetta. Nice. I can't remember what's the project? Something I remember, coming out very shortly. So they're going to have a pledge level that is $10 to get you into there. So they're going to get they're going to kind of get a significant portion of money coming in. $10 at a time.
Pay their share to Kickstarter.
So $10 at a time. Kickstarter's going to take a cut of that. Okay, and then that gets you access to their pledge manager. Now you can go purchase the game, because they're going to have it whatever through CrowdOx or any backer kit or all of these things. And then therefore they're going to get more money, and you're not going to be giving your money straight to Kickstarter.
Yeah,
or much of your money.
They're not going to get a cut of a big piece. They're going to get a cut of a small piece.
This is the whole back at the $1 level to gain access to the pledge manager, and then I kind of started doing that a little bit more, because, tying up your money ahead of time started becoming a thing in my world, where I was like, I don't want to commit $100 right now. Yeah. I want to commit $100 a little bit closer to when I know this project's going to fulfill. Yeah. So do the $1. Restoration Games, let's have the pledge level where you just give you the access to the pledge manager. Make yourself feel good that you're not pledging all of your money, and not a bigger cut of that's going to go to Kickstarter. That is how I read into that message that he came out with.
That's a workaround that I kind of like.
So then,
absolutely,
I got a feeling here that there's going to be an evolution of the crowdfunding platforms. I don't think you're going to see the stretch goals anymore. Like the stretch goals, once we hit $100,000, because people aren't going to be wanting to do that. I think you're going to now see, if you want to do stretch goals, how many backers do we have? We've seen this in campaigns tons already. It's like, hey, if we get 500 people backing, we can now do this. Yeah. It's not tying it to a dollar level, because if I know those people are going to come to my pledge manager, I'm going to get that money. Hopefully they don't just pledge $10 and then just not buy my game anymore. So I feel like that's going to be a more of a thing. Is it's going to be how many backers?
And then I throw out the point that GMT does their P500 list.
Yeah.
Right. Where here's the game, here's the whole thing. It's ready to roll. We just need to hit a threshold, and then we can get the machines going. So, and that puts it directly into the control of the.
Which has been the thing about a company that I have supported for a long time, which was Simon Games.
Yeah.
I don't know why they choose to keep using Kickstarter. If they threw that up on their website as a pre-order, that the people are going to come. You know it. We don't need to have the month-long. Every day there's brand new unlocks, and there's another $75 box that you can add on, and your thing's going to cost you $500 at the end. They just put that on their website. They don't have to give a cut to Kickstarter. They can take it all. I never understood this.
I think Kickstarter's going to kind of wake people up, and they'll go, hey, wait. There's a way around this where we don't really need you anymore. Because
Kickstarter's already came out and said they don't care. This is the path that they want to take.
Well, hopefully all those other things will make them more money than...
I don't think that they're paying attention to one of the biggest communities that's using the Kickstarter platform. I think they're trying to cater to this other side of that NFT thing that I
The
really
tech
have.
side.
Yeah,
That's
the tech side.
Yeah,
And
absolutely. Yeah.
the artists and the like. I'm
Yeah.
not a guy to talk about it, but
Okay,
I'm
you know what?
I'm just the old man shaking his fist at a cloud.
You know what I'm finding really funny is because the time on the segment of the news has pretty much been occupied with us shaking our fists at clouds in regards to crowdfunding.
I
So I
know.
don't even think we need to talk about any of the games
No,
here.
I'm just got one more thing because everybody said now jump ship to. They say what's the alternative? Everybody's saying well jump ship to GameFound.
Yeah, and you
Okay.
presented the obstacle there.
Okay, GameFound, but it's a European-based company. There's not another. Well, I guess there's that Indiegogo. There's another kind of. No one's using it, and I got a feeling that they might say, I don't know, maybe Indiegogo might come up and become the new platform that people are going to start using a little bit more. But yeah, GameFound being European-based, everything's always in euros. And like you said, like this game that you brought up to my attention, which I wanted to talk about, but I guess
Palaces of Carrara,
yeah,
which
but
is
like
a
there we
Kramer
go.
and Kiesling game. Yeah.
But 75 euros for a Euro game. I can't justify that in Canada. This is the Queen Games.
Get that cloud out of here.
This is the Queen Games argument all over again.
$150 for a Euro game. What?
Now, to be fair, they're deluxifying it and giving it a very, very special makeover here with a lot of wooden, like custom wooden components and game trays inserts and updated metal coins, and
there's quite a jump from the retail to deluxe, that's for sure.
There is a huge, but I don't think that
I mean, it looks great, right? Don't get me wrong, but and as I said before when we started, I'm at the point where I'm just gonna wait till it hits the shelf, because if it's that good, it'll get to the shelves. I just have to be patient, right?
Yeah. My big beef here is that they're not even offering a non-deluxe version of this game.
I thought they are. There's a retail version. Not available on GameFound.
Not available on GameFound. Nope. If you want to wait till retail, but you can't pre-order. There's that pre-order word. You can't pre-order it, the retail version on here. You'll have to take your chances at retail.
Well, that's all right. Then I guess I don't have. There's so many games to play. See, that's the thing. Is like, oh, okay.
There's when we do a future episode, when we look back on 2021, we're gonna turn the tide here. That Mr. Rao here has kind of very, very drastically different views of the crowdfunding platform from beginning of 2021 at the end of 2021.
That pendulum swung hard.
Oh yeah. Yeah, if you're like listening, if Norm was listening to me at the very beginning before we went on live, I was just like, oh yeah, grumble. He's just like, do we even do the news? Holy crap, man!
You were Corey Curmudgeon, that's for sure. Mr. Curmudgeon, what do you feel about that?
I did have my grumpy pants on.
And now for the news. I just don't know why you gotta want to pay attention.
I feel a lot better that I got it all out there now. Though
it was a good therapy session. I'm glad I could pull that out of you. And
Tell me how you really feel.
Yeah, I'm right. Session's now finished, and so yeah, that's a good transition. And we're back. This is Cardboard Conjecture. Let's get to some reviews.
The reviews. That wasn't even enhanced.
You push it so hard that it clips your compressor, and it just limits you.
It's just like, oh wait, there's actually nothing. There's no audio there.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Hey, how about you go first, or do you want me to go first?
It really doesn't matter to me. Do you want me to go first? In case mine takes a little. Okay, yeah, you go first. Mine might go a little long.
Because mine, I mean, it's and this is funny because it was one of those things where. Playing this a lot on Board Game Arena and solo live solo. But it was funny how I went to look to see if we've reviewed this game, or I've reviewed this game, and we haven't. And this is Viticulture by Jamie Stegmaier and Alan Stone, and published by Stonemaier Games. and we've reviewed Wingspan, we've reviewed Euphoria, we've talked about Red Rising, right? But
Yeah.
this one, it was like, wait, so I'm going to talk about it, and I'm going to talk about it with such joy and glee. Spoiler alert, I love this game, and I want to take this opportunity to like tell you why. And so as we always do, let's finish up with some details. Now, the viticulture plays 1 to 6 players, and it was my first introduction into the Atoma deck, developed by Morton Anderson, I believe. And typically play 90 minutes, but if you're solo, I've played this down into like 30, 35 minutes. Um, uh, it is. Now, let's get into the description here. In viticulture, the players find themselves in the roles of people in rustic, pre modern Tuscany who have inherited meager vineyards. They have a few plots of land, an old crush pad, a tiny cellar, and 3 workers. They each have a dream of being the first to call their winery a true success. The players are in the position of determining how they want to allocate their workers throughout the year. Every season is different on a vineyard, so the workers have different tasks they can take care of in the summer and winter. There's competition over those tasks, and often the first worker to get the job has an advantage over subsequent workers. Fortunately, the players, people, love to visit wineries, and it just so happens that many of those visitors are willing to help out around the vineyard when they visit, as long as you assign a worker to take care of them. Their visits, in the form of cards, are brief, but can be very helpful. Using those workers and visitors, players can expand their vineyards by building structures, planting vines, which are vine cards, and filling wine orders, which are wine order cards. Players work towards the goal of running the most successful winery in Tuscany, and it's a race. It's a beautiful Euro race to 20 points or 25 points. And yeah, this a worker, like, there's cards in it, but this is a worker placement game of beauty and joy. And I have the essential edition Tuscany version, which has all 4 seasons rather than just the the 2 seasons, and has this really cool initiative track where if you go later in the round, you get a little better bonus. But if you want to go first, there's no bonus. You're going first. You're early up in the morning. And then there is a area control map that just kicks in this extra level of goodness. And I think that was kind of and this is with this game. It's kind of like a love project of Jamie Stegmaier, because it's had so many iterations and upgrades that this final iteration of Essential Edition Tuscany format of a game, I think is like a piece of opera. I just absolutely. Now again, the uniqueness of this game, this review is going to be very fast and very tight, because it's a worker placement game. In every area of this game, it's all functioning mechanically towards filling out wine orders. And the wine orders are where you get your big points. So you can't ignore that. So it's basically worker placement engine building kind of situation where you have to manage your resources so tightly to the point where, when do you upgrade your building? When do you upgrade your cellar? When do you, some contracts might be so difficult to do because it's going to require you to buy a new trellis, or do some certain little changes to your engine. And can you invest that time, because you're looking at the person beside you going, how did they get off the crusher pad so fast into their wine cellars, and they're already like cashing out, and you panic, right? This has such a fun challenge for you, using what you have as resources, and also trying to, now it's not my style, but hey, if it's there, blocking people. It's a worker placement game, and there's bonuses if you're the first one there. Sometimes you get 2 cards, sometimes you get to plant 2, you might not need it, but the person next to you or after you might need it more. So you might go, I don't even have any cards. I got one card. Okay, maybe I'll plant. And I know you're dying to plant cards. So, yeah, we we often talk about the unique mechanism, and I think the unique mechanism in this game is how everything synergistically connects front to back, because this game runs in cycles and seasons, and there is such a relative connection from the beginning. I mean, it's organic from the beginning of planting that seed to producing that product. Everything has to tie together. If it fractures, game over, right? You're gonna fall so far behind, you're gonna be just that one contract. That's the most painful, being one contract behind the winner. And I think that's what I love about the uniqueness of this game is how, as a Euro goes, it's, to me, it's like the first hybrid, because and we talk about hybrid where it's a Euro and the thematic games. This one pushes that theme so beautifully into the mechanism of the game, where I enjoy every play, even solo. I just have so much fun. So like I said, spoiler alert, this is a top shelf game for me, and I will go back to this game in a heartbeat. If even someone looks at the game, I'm already pulling, say, okay, let's do it, let's play it. So yeah, and I know you've got some cool stuff to talk about viticulture. So
yeah, just one. When Norm was talking about that, he has the Viticulture Essential Edition Tuscany. The Tuscany is the expansion. You have to get Viticulture Essential Edition first, which is the from the original iteration. There was Viticulture. It's the most
recent,
yeah. There was Viticulture, and then he had a Tuscany expansion, which was actually one of those kind of campaign expansions where you unlocked things. And then they said, "Okay, I'm just going to put all of the best things of both worlds in
Legacy Viticulture."
Yeah, but you already have all the best things. You already have the best things. But yes, Viticulture Legacy Edition, Jamie, if you're listening, I'd be all for that.
I'll play test that. So yeah, I mean, you were part of that game too, where Ian was there, and everybody had blocked me out of planting so bad that I just went and bought
you bought your
sludge.
Yeah.
I bought my sludge and just put it into the crusher pad, and I not once did I plant anything in my field, and I think I lost by 1 point.
Yeah. It was very remarkable. Everybody always complains about, the one complaint that people have about viticulture is they don't appreciate they don't like the randomness of the visitor cards.
Yeah.
That some people could get some really, really powerful visitor cards that are going to grant them some points, and they're just set up just perfectly just to cash them in.
But you cycle through those. You cycle them.
Yeah, but you can't do that if you don't have the Tuscany expansion. You can't cycle through the cards.
Yeah.
And then there is the Visitors of the Rhine Valley expansion, which is replacement deck of cards that I believe they said just kind of takes away that randomness.
Yeah. And I believe one of the expansions has extra building that you can build. That just adds another dimension. So yeah, I love this game. Thank you, Stonemeyer.
And this was one of his, this was one of the first ones. Like this one came out just after, I think, Euphoria. I think Euphoria was the first one, then Viticulture. It may have been the other way around. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But
it was early on. It was
one of the early editions that made people fall in love with Jamie Stegmaier and his designs and the Stonemeyer game products, which were accidentally, oh my gosh, talking is hard. Production values. The production values are outstanding for what you got.
And interesting, it just occurred to me how this ties back to our news with Kickstarter. Jamie Stegmaier was like the Kickstarter genius. It wasn't that one of his other little niches was, I know how to run a campaign.
Yeah, and then he finally...
and then now he got to a point where he can do it on his own. Yeah.
Well, there you go. He doesn't have to go through the pre-order. There we go. I hate Kickstarter. It's a pre-order system. He can get all the money. He just does the pre-orders off of his own.
Yeah.
Sells his stuff into distribution.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So
good game and good company structure. So
Jamie Stegmaier just came out too with a blog post about his thoughts on the whole Kickstarter blockchain thing, and then
Where are those
GameFound,
clouds? The clouds are back again.
yeah, and his comments on, because GameFound also had a response into that. So he posted his thought. I haven't read it all, but I know it's going to be very well articulated on what his stance are, and his opinion would be something that I would actually listen to, because I think he knows what he's talking about when it comes to crowdfunding.
As far as how businesses should work. Yeah, so Viticulture, Jamie Stegmaier, Alan Stone, published by Stonemaier Games. Yes, you need to play this. Point blank, done. Slam dunk, drop the meeple, walk away.
Drop it, walk away.
Yeah. All right, we got some train talk.
Oh my goodness.
You're not a train guy. That's what
I'm
just
not a
rocks
train
my
guy.
boat. You're not a train guy.
I'm not a train guy. This is not now what most people would think when you hear the words Imperial Steam. Of course, you're going to hear that the big word on the box is Steam. So people are going to think Steam, Rails to Riches, or they're going to be talking about Age of Steam, which are these kind of like much bigger, heavier, pick up and deliver type of economic games that kind of people would shy away from and not their cup of tea. This one does it differently. So I'm talking about Imperial Steam, published in 2021 here by, oh my gosh, one of our favorite companies, Capstone Games. Designed by Alexander Humer with art by Andreas Reich. And in Imperial Steam, I'm going to read us the little blurb here because
that's what we like to do.
I know everybody. I'm going to read this blurb and be like, well, yeah, we could have assumed that
every Euro game.
So, the Industrial Age, right there. The Industrial Age is starting to boom. You are in need of more workers for your factories, and you also need more workers to build railroad tracks to expand your railway network. This, in turn, will enable you to deliver goods from your factories to cities with high demand, but be sure to earmark goods for fulfilling profitable public contracts, because when the connection to Trieste is made, your net worth is all that matters. So it's a train game. But not in like those other games sense. I'll kind of give us a little brief overview, and this is going to be very brief because there is a lot going on in this game. There are 11 possible actions that you can take on your turn. I'm going to say that there's actually only 9 because the other 2 actions are there if you don't plan correctly. They're kind of like the gimme actions. Like one action is put your guy there, or put your action marker there, get $10. If you need to get $10 from that action, you are not playing this game right.
That's the spot.
The other action is the pass, your turn, pass for the round action, and you're only taking that if you've really locked yourself out of doing everything else. So you didn't plan well. So there's really 9 actions here. There's all the main ones. Building railroad tracks. That's the most complicated action that there possibly is. But then there's also hiring more workers. There is building factories. There is gaining investors. There is upgrading your trains. There is claiming contracts. There's all of these different things that could possibly go on during your turn. It is the building of the railroad track one that is the most complicated. Because, well, okay, sorry. When I use the word complicated, this is actually the most involved action. One of the things that really impresses me about this game is that it actually, when you're playing the game, it is not a complicated mechanically. It's not a complicated game mechanically. All the depth is in the decisions that you need to make and when and the timing of things. But building your railroads, it just simply costs 3 resources. You just need a stone, iron, and wood, and then you can lay down 2 tracks on your turn, up to 2 tracks. But where you're connecting to, those cities that you're connecting to need some sort of they call it effort, and this is where your workers come in. You start the game with only a few level 1 workers, and level 1 workers only have an effort value of 1. Whoa, mind blowing, right?
It's like it's in the title.
So I can use my level 1 workers and use them to build railroad. Now, cities range in effort levels from 3 all the way up to 6. So at the end of a round, if you don't use any of your workers to lay down track or anything like that, they actually get a little bit more educated and their effort levels increase. So now if all the ones that I didn't use in level 1 now progress to level 2, and then they can progress to level 3. So you have to be able to plan out the way that you use your workers to lay down the tracks. You also want to be paying attention to the cities that you're connecting to, because all these cities provide a schwack load of different bonuses once you connect to them. One of the big ones is that some cities provide a place where you can build a factory. And factories are a really important thing in this game, especially when you are starting to get a little low on money. Because the factory will allow you to actually gain possession of goods. Like, you own the factory, you can now produce the goods. You can now deliver those goods as long as you are connected to what they call a hub city. This is not a pick up and deliver game. You are going to be doing this very little in this game as possible. There's actually only 4 cities on the whole big massive map that's going to take up your entire table, because this is a table hog. But there's only 4 cities that you can deliver to, and each of those cities will only take each of the goods once. So there is a little bit of a race element to get your goods into those cities so that you can get the payout.
Yeah.
Okay, but now Ryan, what if somebody beats me to these cities? How else can I get money other than that crappy $10 action? Well, you can have investors. Everybody starts with 10 possible investors at their disposal. But the only way that you can actually get investors is that you have to claim contracts from them. So as an action, you have to get a contract. And there's various levels of contracts. The highest level will gain you 3 investors. The lowest level will get you 1 investor. And what these investor tokens will do as a free action, whatever your company is worth at the time, you can just, sell off a piece of your company and get that money in return.
Yeah.
Now there are various ways in the game that you can increase the value of your company, and then therefore the investors will give you that in return. Now here's the catch, though, is at the end of the game, every investor that you have bought into your company, that you've taken money from, they're going to take 10% of your final.
That's right.
Of your final income, your final worth at the end of the game.
Yeah.
So you have to really, really wage. You kind of don't want to use them very early when your company's not worth very much. You want to use them when your company is worth a lot, and therefore your return on investment is actually a little bit better. Essentially that's kind of like the very general overview of what's going on in this game. It's actually very simple to play. The game ends. It's either going to last for 8 rounds, or as soon as somebody connects to that one city that I mentioned in the description to
the Trist or something like that. Yeah.
Okay, that's how Trist or Tristy or something along those lines. If as soon as somebody connects to that one, at the end of that round, the game is over. Which is actually a really neat thing, because if no one by the end of 8 rounds connects to that city, if you took contracts that are worth actually a lot of money, your contracts are worthless. They're worth $0. You can't do them. However, if somebody does connect to that city, and I do have contracts, I'm going to be able to claim it. Yeah. Now, if I don't connect to Tristy or Trist, whatever we're going to call it,
I think it's called Trist.
Okay. If I don't connect to Trist, I actually have to use the person who did connect to it. I have to use their railway, and I actually have to pay them for every link that I do need to use.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to balance that. Or if I manage to connect to it, I don't have to actually pay that extra money. Now, if I do have a contract, and a connection is made to Trist, and I did not fulfill the requirements of the contract, I actually have to lose all of the money that contract is worth. I have to pay what that contract is worth because I didn't actually fulfill it.
Yikes.
So there is something, if somebody's going heavy on contracts and they haven't met them, and I rush to Trist, I might actually have a chance at winning this because they're going to be so low. They're going to be so in the hole.
Paying you off.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
I'm already starting to get into some of the things that I really enjoy about this game.
Well, let's talk about them.
Okay, so Inside Out, my thoughts about the components here. The box is your standard Ticket to Ride size box, but this thing's stuffed to the max. We got a very very large trifold board that takes up most of my 3x5 kitchen table.
That thing looks huge. Yeah.
We have player boards, which are very, very lovely player boards. They're a little large, but I understand why they're that large. That's to hold you. No, I didn't even talk about trains, but really, the trains are there just to hold all your goods.
Yeah.
Because if you can't hold your goods, you can't take the goods.
There you go.
And they also manage the player boards also manage your workers. You have these. And then you also have the action tiles. And then you also have a factory board. And then you also have
I'm looking at a picture of the setup. It's like, wow, that is a lot of real estate, but it's organized. There's a cohesive connection to it. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. So after all of this, it's all very nice components. Nice wooden components. You got the cubes. Of course, it's got to be cubes. There's nothing else. Nothing else what I want in this game other than cubes to represent the resources.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them. You can kind of see if you're taking a look at the board, that bottom right hand, there's a market board.
Yeah.
Each of those spaces need to have cubes in them so that once you start buying them, they are now getting worth more and more and more and more.
It's busy. It's a very busy setup.
Now the city tiles themselves. The printed board itself is empty, and you have to populate it with the city tiles.
Mm-hmm.
There are 3 different sets of tiles that can populate for the player counts. There's a 2-player set of tiles. There's a 3-player set of tiles. There's a 4-player set of tiles. So there's a lot of tiles, and you have to keep them separated based on your player count because yes, the 2-player tiles are meant for a 2-player game. There's not as many factories involved in 2 players. Whereas in a 4-player game, a lot of those tiles have factory spots so that everybody can get a little bit of something.
Yeah, it's good that at least that design parameter has been paid attention to.
Yeah. So there's all of those tiles, which is like now they have the recommended setup, like your first structured setup. So you actually have to organize all the tiles by their numbers and put them on all the spots. Eventually, what you're going to do, and this makes setup so much faster, is just randomly put the tiles everywhere.
Like Great Western Trail, yeah.
It's so much easier, especially in this game because there's like 27 tiles to put out onto the board.
I'm looking at all those spots. It's like, that's a lot of pre-game setup.
Yeah. So there's a lot of setups, and there's very finicky tiles that go across the top that'll tell you how many goods you're allowed to purchase this round. Yeah. That's supposed to be random as well, and oh my goodness. So the components are top quality. The money in this game is actually kind of like, I'm going to hold it up to the screen here. It's kind of like this paper money. It's like a stack of paper money. We don't use this. That's why it's out of the box. We just use my poker chips, my Roxley Iron Clay poker chips, which are beautifully designed for this type of game in any game.
Iron Clay.
Oh, yeah. They're beautiful. We use them for every single game we play, actually. We just take the money and toss it.
Yeah.
Let's get into the rule book. The rule book is a nice, thick, juicy rule book of 31 pages of goodness.
I remember you telling me you had to do a seminar class to get through that.
So when I first got this game and when we were first playing it, there were no rules videos out there yet. Now there are a few out there. John Gets Games has a phenomenal run through of this type of game. But I did actually have to learn this game from the rule book. And do you know what? This thing is actually really good. It's
Nice.
actually laid
Nice.
out very nicely. Even though it is on the longer side, a lot of the actions make sense. Like they're easy actions to take. There's no edge cases in this game, really.
Cool.
There's not like, well, what if I do this? No, there's like none of that. It's like, no, you lay track. You need to spend extra. Oh yeah, there's some spaces on the board that cost extra. Oh yeah, you have to pay an extra coal.
There's no rules. There's no rules that are colliding.
No. So I highlight this rule book is very, very well laid out. Even though it's on the long side, it's very good. I just would have really wished that they would have went with, instead of they have a reference overview of the boards on the back of the rule book, I would have rather a reference of how a turn works and just maybe a summary of the actions. That's all. That's a nitpicky thing.
Yeah. Somebody from BGG will come up with that and put it in the files or something.
Let's get to the gameplay.
Yeah.
Because this thing is shining on so many different. A lot of people are saying this is like their game of the year. Like it's so good. It's a very Euro version of these train type games. And I couldn't agree with them more, because this is even though what I've described is very big and complex, it's actually very simple to play. But this was a game that I think I described it back when Chad from A Dice and Men was on here on the show. This is a game that you can possibly screw yourself over in that first round.
Oh yeah.
Even in the first round, you don't have very many actions.
Yeah.
Like this is a game where you gain more
Food
action
chain.
points as you're going along. In those first few actions, like you could screw yourself over. Building a factory, making the choice of which factory to build is actually huge, because there is an importance on coal, being able to produce coal, because that allows you to deliver your goods. But coal doesn't give you immediate income.
Yeah.
Where it said, so that's one thing that I tried. I'm going to get the coal. Of course, you got to get coal in these games.
Yeah.
But it doesn't give you any immediate income. It gives you income at the end of the game, but it doesn't give you income at the beginning or during the game. So I had to rely on investors to give me some cash, whereas everybody's like, no, I built an iron factory, I built a wood factory, and now I'm getting money. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, I screwed that up. So then I was playing behind for a good chunk of the game until I realized that. So these are games that you do have to make those types of decisions. You also have to take a look at which route are you going to go down to Trist. Did I say it right? Yeah, Trist.
I think so. Yeah.
Because, man, this path is going to grant me these types of bonuses, but if I take this path, I'm going to get a completely different set of bonuses.
Well, and that can change on the board setup every time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Oh, man. The first time that we played with the random setup, I think we took like 20 minutes just analyzing the board.
Let's read the board. You got to read the board.
I'm just like, I think that would be really good. Well, yeah.
And if I know anything from what you've been telling me in stories, your wife is really good at picking out those patterns and those connections.
Oh, yes. And so if you're going to play with somebody.
So I was okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because this one definitely, even though the actions are very simple to play, planning out your turns and having somebody just come out from underneath you. Turn order in this game is important. There's some games out there where you can say turn order, like, okay, I can get by going second. I can get by going third.
Yeah.
You can't get by in this game by going second or third.
This has that Five Tribes feel from what I'm reading from you, that it's like, if you're not going first and you have to like react to what was left to you, you're in a bad place.
So here's a few things that really matter on. No, I'm gonna. Nice. I would like this. So here's a few things that are important. Hiring workers, being the first person to hire workers at a very cheap level is very important, because now I have more workers to expand my railway network and stuff like that. And they all start at a very cheap level. And as soon as you start buying workers from different locations on the board, their worth keep going up. So you have to hire them at they're more desirable.
Elevated price. Yeah.
So that's one thing that's very important. Getting to some of those city bonuses. Because there's no blocking. If Jen lays down track to connect one city to another, I can still lay down track. But now if I'm the second person there, though, I actually have to give her a kickback. I have to pay her to also have some rights to that railway.
I like that system where you're not blocked. It's just gonna cost you a little shave.
Some other things, it's the influence track that determines the player order, and that's at the very, very bottom there.
Yeah.
And the influence track just also tells you where you can actually hire your workers from.
Yeah.
And it ultimately decides the turn order. Also, you also want to be able to deliver your goods first to certain cities. If you're going second and you both have wood and that one city there still requires wood, well, the person who's first is going to be able to deliver it and get the cash, and you're going to be shut out of it.
Yeah.
So lots of things that require you to have turn order in this game. Oh my gosh, there's so many different ways to play this game too. You could be going heavy contracts. I tried this game. It worked beautifully until the very end when somebody else won by $10.
Hey, wait, isn't that one move you can make? Is the $10?
Is the $10 action? Yeah, if I took that once, we would have tied. So yeah, you can go heavy on contracts. Now, contracts require you to have factories. All the contracts require you to have factories, and certain types of factories. So you can try that game. Just build factories, expand out, build the factories. Don't really have to use the resources if you don't want to. That's a bonus if you can. Yeah. Just getting the investors and cashing them out once you get your certain level of your company worth so much. Just start cashing them in. Big bucks.
Yeah, for sure.
There's just try to deliver to all of the cities. That's a strategy. Or just trying to get down to Trist before the person can actually get their contracts.
Yeah.
There's so many different things that you can do with this game. I think what Alexander Humer did, which is the guy that did Lignum. Now, that's a game I do have no experience with. A very highly regarded game, a very highly regarded economic game.
The German forestry industry.
So makes me want to maybe look into that game because this game is fantastic. The choices that you have to make turn by turn. I've only just scratched the surface of what this game has to offer. So, yeah. Now, I really didn't mention anything more about the trains. The trains are there just to kind of hold your goods. They also take up spaces when you want to acquire a contract.
Okay.
Which is kind of a neat thing because you have to upgrade your trains eventually, because if you want to take contracts, you need to have space. You have to have allocated space on your train for that contract type of thing. So, man, oh man, there's so many. I haven't even got into like buying goods and reserving goods, but that's all part of this game too. It's the very easy actions to take place. Where am I sitting with Imperial Steam? What's the unique thing? Now, I wouldn't say there's a lot unique about this, but man, oh man, just the way that they simplified this economic engine for you.
Because you're not a train guy, but you love this game.
I love people. Now, I kind of made this comparison and it made Ian go, huh. I compare this to Brass. If you like Brass, you're going to love this game. Okay, I would take this one. Now, Brass is a very highly regarded game. You can draw a lot of comparisons in the way, like the route building and the economics behind it. I would put this one just a slight step more complicated than Brass. Not by much, but just maybe a slight step up. Is there room for both in your collection? Absolutely. Brass is fantastic. This one's fantastic. Yeah. This one's more of a table hog. Like you make sure you have a good chunk of real estate.
Brass.
So, people are probably where are you ranking this, Ryan? You're kind of bloating. You're gloating about it. This is a fantastic. I'm not sure if I want to put this on the top shelf, but this is ever very close to the top shelf. It's sitting on the middle, very inching close. But I will say this, when I do release my top 10 of the year 2021, Imperial Steam is on that list. It's a top 10 of 2021.
Cool.
I might even go say, as far as spoiler alert, it's top 5 of 2021.
Look at that.
Super fantastic game. I just wish that it had more distribution here in Canada.
Oh, yeah.
There's not a lot of places that have it.
You're saying
so if you can go ahead if you can go ahead, some of the out east online retailers have it in stock. So go take a look at like 401 and Board Game Bliss. Just Board Game Oracle it.
Yeah.
And it'll pop up in different places. This game is fantastic. It's great. It's so good. My complaints about it though are the time it takes to set up and the time it takes to put it away. I actually got Plano boxes inside of the box there just to keep components organized.
Until Folded Space comes out with a Folded Space insert.
As soon as an insert is available for this one, I am buying it 100% because, man, does it need one bad.
Well, I mean, it sounds like it's worth the game, though. So,
oh, it's fantastic. And then I believe when I picked it up, it was like $60.
Yeah. Oh,
everything that I described was $60.
Wow.
You're getting a huge, huge game for this. Capstone Games, keep on knocking it out of the park. Man, oh man. Can you please sponsor this podcast?
Or just come and hang out and talk with us. So cool. Yeah.
I'll settle for either.
Right on. Well, that's bringing us up to the closing of this, and I hope we've said some interesting things about the games that we reviewed. And that being said, I'm your host Norm,
and I'm Mr. Pennybags. I mean, Moneybag. What's that guy from the? I'm Ryan,
and we'll catch you later.
I think it's Mr. Pennybags.
You just about maybe start laughing for a second there.
And I'm the Monopoly guy.
And I'm the Monopoly guy.
Was that Jim Carrey?
I have no idea. Is caffeine produced?
Oh, okay.
Bye, internet.
I'm transitioning out.